What do these three professions have in common with scuba divers? Naval service men or women on aircraft carriers, men or women in special forces, military or police, or baseball players? Well, much like scuba divers, these three professions will at times use hand signals to communicate with each other. If you are a new or beginner diver getting ready to take your open water class, we are about to level up your understanding of how we communicate with each other underwater non-verbally using hand signals. And if you're a seasoned or experienced diver, stick around. I'd love to hear about some of the signals that you use, and maybe we can add some to your repertoire. Let's dive in. Hey guys, welcome back to Everything Scuba. I am Lyell. We are in some new surroundings today. We've set up a brand new Everything Scuba studio, and sometime in the next few episodes we're going to give you guys a tour, show you what we got going on in here. We're really excited about it. But let's get to the topic of today's episode. We are going to talk all about introductory hand signals for new beginner scuba divers. What are the basic things that you're going to need to understand when you get in the water with your instructor, your dive master, or his assistants, so that you can communicate effectively with them? Obviously, we can't talk to each other underwater. We need to have a way to non-verbally communicate, and that's by using these, our two hands. But again, if you're a seasoned or certified diver, if there are additional hand signals that you don't think that we have included in here, drop some comments down below. We'd love to hear about the hand signals that you like to use. But in addition, we have some upcoming episodes where we're going to cover hand signals in more detail for more specific conditions. Up first is the sign that almost everybody knows before they even start their open water class. The OK sign. I am okay. Don't forget that this is a question. So if this is flashed at you by your buddy or your instructor, they are specifically asking, are you okay? And we want an answer. And so if you are okay, there are three different ways to demonstrate that. Underwater, close to your instructor or your buddy, you're going to use this hand signal. If you're in the water, maybe on the surface, a little further away from the person asking you if you're okay, here are two other ways that you can demonstrate that I am okay. First, after entering the water using a giant stride off the back of a boat, generally the dive master or captain is going to ask you, are you okay? And you're going to use this hand signal. You can see by forming an O shape using one hand touching the top of your head, some divers will simply use a fist to bump the top of their head to demonstrate that they are okay. Second, if you are far away from the boat, you come to the surface, and the captain yells out, are you okay? You can give them this signal. Using two arms extended way above you, you can give them a big okay. Now the other side to this is, if someone asks you, are you okay? And you can then tell them, I'm not doing so well. I'm having problems. And we're going to use this hand signal to let them know that I have a problem. The only downside to this hand signal is it demonstrates you're having a problem, but it doesn't tell your instructor or your buddy what the problem is. And so we need to find other ways to demonstrate what the problem is. Most commonly for us during instructional classes is if we're descending into the deep end of a pool and people are having trouble equalizing their ears, they're going to have a problem with their ear. Make sure to let your instructor or your buddy know, yeah, I'm having a problem, but with what exactly? Your instructor is going to use this hand signal a lot. And this hand signal means you need to look at or pay attention to or observe me. Occasionally during classes, an instructor may have a dive master demonstrate a skill to you. So in addition, he may say, look at them. The next signal is one that people sometimes get confused about. When they're asked, are they okay, they may give this hand signal to their instructor. We're all very used to giving the thumbs up as, hey, we're good, we're okay. This symbol actually means ascend or end your dive. And alternately, at the surface, or sometimes once we get to a certain depth and we want to go deeper, you're going to see this hand signal. And this means we are going to descend from the surface, or let's descend deeper to a different level. During ascents and descents, other hand signals that your instructor or buddies may give you are to tell you, hey, let's stay at this depth. Let's level off here. So two hand signals that we will commonly use would be this, using a single hand sweeping back and forth, let's level off. In addition, I like to use this two-handed signal, particularly during the ascent once we're getting close to our safety stop level, the reason I like this is because it indicates to my students, this is the ceiling and this is the floor. Let's stay in between here. Speaking of safety stops, there is a hand signal for that, and it's going to look like this. If it is a 3-minute safety stop, you'll see 3 fingers against a flat palm. Occasionally during a skill, I'm going to ask a student to stop what they're doing at that point in time. And so I'm going to use this hand signal to demonstrate stop what you're doing. However, remember, during scuba diving, the #1 rule is to never stop breathing. Also, you're going to find during your confined water classes, particularly if there are other students there, your instructor is going to have to pay attention to them and ask them to do their skills. So sometimes he's going to give you this hand signal with a closed fist raised, which means you're going to wait or hold or pause. Just don't go anywhere because he's going to work with another student and come back to you. While learning how to do your skills in the pool, we are never going to expect you to do it in a super speedy, hurried fashion. And so occasionally, we are going to ask you to slow down using this hand signal. One of the key elements that we're going to teach you as a recreational diver is the buddy system. So we're going to use fingers to represent buddies, and so when raising 2 fingers and putting them together, we want you to buddy up with your buddy because you're going to probably swim around the pool or follow them, but we want you to stay together as a buddy team. In addition to this, sometimes the instructor is going to ask you to follow them using that buddy finger system. So using 1 finger with another trailing, that means you and your buddy are going to follow the instructor. Now during your training, we are always working towards making you neutrally buoyant divers. And in the upcoming episodes, we're going to talk about some of the hand signals we're going to use for neutrally buoyant. But at times when you first start as a new diver, we're going to ask you to kneel, and we're also going to ask you to stand in the pool or in the confined water area to complete a skill. I brought up that the #1 rule in scuba diving is to never hold your breath, correct? So we are going to have a hand signal for breathe, and it's going to look just like this. A hand coming away from the mouth or regulator and back towards it. In previous episodes, I have told you that diving is not swimming, but we do have a hand signal for you to swim or kick yourself along. And it's going to look like this, using 2 fingers as a representation of finning yourself through the water. Hopefully with your confined water class, you're working with a great instructor who gives you awesome instructions before we actually descend under the water. They talk about the skill. They will then go down and demonstrate the skill for you underwater, and they'll give you hand signals to learn about the skill. That we're going to cover in additional episodes upcoming. If you perform the skill and have a problem doing it, your instructor may use this hand signal to let you know, hey, remember what I told you. And after using this hand signal, he or she, your instructor, is going to maybe ask you to, hey, let's do that over again just to show me that you really know how to do it. Other types of corrective hand signals, just to let you know that, hey, you should not do this, we may use this hand signal. Sometimes questions come up, both from instructors and from students. So if you find you have a question that you need answered, or your instructor has a question that they want to ask you, this is a hand signal you may see underwater for, hey, I have a question. This is a hand signal I like to use a lot during class because hopefully my students are absolutely rocking their skills and impressing the heck out of me. So I like to use the hand tang signal just to let you know, great job. And if I give you a double-handed hang tan, you know that you're absolutely rocking that skill. Let's take a closer look at some of the other hand signals that are extremely important, if not critical to know, and those relate to air or gas management while you're underwater. We absolutely need you to know this critical skill, how to answer and understand questions from your instructor and buddies related to your air or gas levels remaining, and then also how do I respond to that. So dive into the next episode by clicking right here. Thanks for joining us. Dive safely, friends.